Tuesday, September 5th, 2023, morning edition. Please pardon any visual and informational inaccuracies in this entirely AI-generated video.
Good morning, dear viewers. I am your news anchor, Xander Voxius III. Thank you for tuning in to the Future of News AGNDD Intellireport. As always, I will be assisted by my valued AI-generated colleagues in summarizing the news. Without further ado, here are the headlines of the day. Global search underway for Paul McCartney's missing bass guitar. U.S. unions flex their muscle, but are they winning? Real Madrid loves 20-year-old Englishman for a reason. U.S. blocks semiconductor shipments to Chinese telecom giant. Starfield players create famous sci-fi ships. Aerosmith begins farewell tour with epic performances, and more. But first, let's take a look at this day in history.
September 5th in history. September 5th, 917. Liu Yan declares himself emperor, establishing the Southern Han state in southern China, at his capital of Panyu. September 5th, 1590. Alexander Farnese's army forces Henry IV of France to lift the siege of Paris.
Today's obituaries. Albert Azarian. Brief Wikipedia summary. Albert Azarian, a 94-year-old Armenian gymnast and Olympic champion, has passed away. He won gold medals in the still rings event at the 1956 and 1960 Olympics and was known for his innovative technique, including the Azarian cross. Maria Teresa Campos. Brief Wikipedia summary. Maria Teresa Campos, a Spanish journalist and television presenter, passed away at the age of 82. She had a successful career spanning over 5 decades and received numerous awards for her work in the industry. She died in Madrid due to breathing issues. Ivan Šuker. Brief Wikipedia summary. Ivan Šuker was a Croatian politician and economist who served as Minister of Finance from 2003 to 2010. He was also the president of the Croatian Basketball Federation and had a background in finance and local government.
Famous people born on this day.
September 5th, 1975, George Boding, Dutch footballer and manager.
Shane Sewell. Here is a recap of their Wikipedia page. Shane Sewell is a Canadian-American wrestler and referee who has worked for various wrestling promotions. He has won multiple World Heavyweight Championships and has had notable feuds with other wrestlers. Sewell also worked as a referee for Total Nonstop Action Wrestling.
And now on to today's news.
General news.
Insider Q&A, Atlanta Fed President Raphael Bostic foresees interest rates staying higher for longer. AOL.
The Federal Reserve has raised its key interest rate to around 5.4%, the highest in 22 years, to curb borrowing and spending and manage inflation. Despite this, unemployment remains low. Fed officials are now debating whether to increase the rate further or maintain the current level.
What is Parola, the newest BA 2.86 coronavirus variant spreading? Al Jazeera English.
The U.S. Health Agency advises annual COVID-19 vaccines and booster shots due to new coronavirus variants. 2 variants, BA 2.86 or Parola and EG5 or Eris, are causing concern. Parola has over 30 mutations and Eris can evade antibodies. Both are increasing globally but are not causing severe illness. The forthcoming updated COVID-19 booster is expected to be effective against BA 2.86.
4 astronauts returned to Earth in a SpaceX capsule to wrap up a 6-month station mission. Politico.
Astronauts have returned from the space station, craving hot showers and coffee after their homecoming was delayed due to poor weather. SpaceX plans to switch crews later this month, including the return of 2 Russians and 1 American.
U.S. unions have flexed their muscle this past year. Are they winning? CNN.
U.S. labor unions have seen an increase in their strength and success over the past year, scoring significant victories in wage negotiations and strike threats. However, some strikes have not been successful, and many union members continued to struggle. Public support for unions is at a record high, with many believing they benefit the U.S. economy.
Business news.
Employee whisperer warns of major issue killing companies right now. Fox Business.
Wage compression, where long-term employees earn less than new hires, is causing resentment and damaging companies, according to labor management expert Jason Greer. This issue also leads to a surge in unionization drives and high turnover, with companies losing experienced employees and incurring costs to replace new hires.
Binance head of product quits as executive exodus continues. Cointelegraph.
Binance's head of product, Mayur Kamat, is stepping down after nearly 2 years. Kamat's departure comes amid a series of executive exits at the cryptocurrency exchange, which is currently facing regulatory scrutiny globally. Kamat helped grow Binance's user base from 80 million to over 150 million in 18 months.
Was your clothing made by forced labor? These startups can tell you. Forbes.
Retailers are struggling to ensure their supply chains do not include cotton from regions like Xinjiang, China, following import bans.
Technology news.
Random Xbox's Phil Spencer had a blast playing Super Mario Bros. Wonder, Nintendo Life.
Head of Xbox, Phil Spencer, praised Nintendo's upcoming title, Super Mario Bros. Wonder, after a hands-on session at Nintendo Live in Seattle. The friendly relationship between Nintendo and Xbox could lead to a decade of Call of Duty games on Nintendo if Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard is successful.
Starfield players are already creating all the famous sci-fi ships you'd expect. IGN.
Early access players of the game Starfield are creating ships based on famous ones from the science fiction world, such as the Enterprise from Star Trek, the Millennium Falcon from Star Wars, and the Normandy from Mass Effect, using the game's ship creation mechanic.
Hideo Kojima was forced to get thrifty during Metal Gear Solid 1's development. IGN.
Hideo Kojima, the creator of Metal Gear and Death Stranding, discussed his early days at Konami and his cost-saving strategies while developing the original Metal Gear Solid. This game marked a significant change for Kojima, as it was his first time in charge of production.
Sports news.
Why Real Madrid has fallen in love with a 20-year-old Englishman. CNN.
Jude Bellingham, a 20-year-old footballer, scored a late goal, securing Real Madrid's fourth consecutive victory in a match against Getafe. Bellingham, who joined Real Madrid in June, has scored 5 goals in his first 4 La Liga games, the most in the league.
Man United boss Ten Hag stands by. Sancho comments. Sources say ESPN.
Erik Ten Hag, Manchester United's manager, stands by his decision to drop Jadon Sancho from the team due to poor training performance. Sancho responded angrily, calling the claims untrue and suggesting there were other reasons behind his exclusion. The manager decided not to clarify his post-match comments.
Health news.
Why is a messy house such an anxiety trigger for me, and what can I do about it? The conversation.
Clutter and mess can trigger feelings of stress and anxiety due to cognitive overload, with research suggesting this effect may be more pronounced in women. Significant clutter problems can also be linked to underlying mental health conditions. However, not all clutter is negative, as disorganized spaces can foster creativity. It is suggested that routinely reducing clutter can ease mental load and anxiety.
Why opioids are not the answer to your back pain. New study calls for medical rethink. SciTech Daily.
A University of Sydney-led trial found opioids no more effective than a placebo in treating acute back and neck pain, and could even be harmful. The study calls for a revision of treatment guidelines, advising against opioids for such conditions. The research also indicated a slightly higher risk of opioid misuse among patients who received opioids.
Rewriting the rules of longevity, scientists propose alternative connection between diet and aging. SciTech Daily.
Scientists from the Babraham Institute have shown that dietary change, not necessarily calorie restriction, can lead to healthy aging. The research conducted on yeast demonstrated that switching from a glucose-rich diet to a galactose diet suppressed senescence and loss of fitness in aged cells.
Entertainment news.
Watch Aerosmith kick off farewell tour with Fleetwood Mac cover and first performance of Adam's Apple in 5 years. NME.
Aerosmith has begun their U.S. farewell tour, Peace Out, with a performance at the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia. They performed their first rendition of Adam's Apple in 5 years and covered a Fleetwood Mac classic. The tour will conclude in January 2024 in Montreal.
Global search launched for Paul McCartney's bass guitar, NDTV.
The Lost Bass Project has initiated a global search for Paul McCartney's original Hofner bass guitar, purchased in 1961 and featured in numerous early Beatles hits. The instrument, last used in 1969, has since disappeared. The group seeks credible information to locate the guitar.
Thank you for watching this AGNDD Intellireport. Like, subscribe, and click the bell button to get notified during new uploads. And make sure to tune in next time. Stay safe and healthy. Cheers.